One filled with loving kindness. Please rise in body or in spirit.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. We are grateful to gather for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we are glad. We are glad that you are here. I am glad that you are here. I'm Madison Colquitt. I am your ministerial intern for this congregational year. My pronouns are she, her. This morning, I'm wearing a blue sweater with little pink hearts. I'm a white woman with blonde hair, and I am standing in UUS's pulpit at the front of our sanctuary, and this room in front of me and the adjoining RE Commons are filling with people of all ages. Through the window walls of our sanctuary, we connect to the natural world around us. And I am grateful that today it is a beautiful, sunny, albeit a little chilly day. I am joined today by Worship Associate Kezia Walker-Cecil and our pulpit guest, Reverend Karen Bringelson. A Unitarian Universalist for nearly 40 years, Reverend Karen earned her Master's of Divinity from Meadville Lombard Theological School in 2020 and began serving our Cedar Rapids congregation, the People's Church Unitarian Universalist, in 2023. She and her wife, Bev, live with lots of houseplants and garden projects in Cedar Rapids. Welcome, Reverend Karen. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and for all who have cared for it over the centuries, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, the Meskwaki, and the Ochitish Shakawan nations. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We are guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. And this morning we lean into the imperfect ways we answer the call of love. Imperfect. We will celebrate and explore our values of equity and justice. If doing something with your hands helps you, we invite you to visit the soul work table just outside the sanctuary doors to pick up an exploratory guide or coloring sheets related to today's service or something else to work with. If you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service by talking with a greeter or by filling out our visitor form in YouTube Notes for those of you joining us online so that we can connect with you.
Our opening words today come from a UU minister, the Reverend Dr. Michelle Collins. Some days the world's pain floods through us like water through a broken dam. Every headline, every cry of distress becoming our own. We come here thirsty for the wisdom, to care without drowning, to love without losing ourselves in the undertow of others' sorrow. Come, let us seek together the steady foundation from which true compassion flows. Come, let us worship together.
Our opening hymn for this morning is number 126, Come, Thou Font of Every Blessing. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Come, thou font of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing what grace, streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise, while the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love. Teach us ever to be faithful, may we still thy goodness prove. Come, thou font of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. The cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come, thou font of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. When thine aid, O font of justice, earth
morning. I'm Kezia Walker Cecil. I am a tall white woman in my 30s, and I have red hair, and I'm wearing a blue dress and a white cardigan, and my pronouns are she, they. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary, safety, and hope, to unite us in worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Riley lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another. We also light a candle of justice and healing as a reminder of our interdependence with Earth and with all members of the global community, especially the most vulnerable. We light this candle so that we may not be numbed to injustice and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love as we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing. Together, we create resilience and hope. Today, as we light this candle, we are particularly mindful that this week is Transgender Awareness Week, which is a week to uplift the stories of trans people around the country, and especially on November 20th, this Thursday, is Transgender Day of Remembrance. This Day of Remembrance is a day when we remember the trans people whose lives have been taken through violent means in the past year. It's a time when we commit to work for justice and equality for trans and gender nonconforming people. As I light this candle, let us hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and bodies, or perhaps to lift up prayers. I'm doing a lot of things in a row today. Now? Oh, hello. Okay, so exciting. Okay. New technology for me. All right, today I'm going to read a book called Ish. It's about finding beauty in the imperfect things. It is written and illustrated by one of my favorite children's book authors, Peter H. Reynolds. And the illustrations will be on the screen as well, or I'll be showing the illustrations down here. All right. Ramon loved to draw. Anytime, anything, anywhere. I don't know if I'm that dedicated to my art. One day, Ramon was drawing a vase of flowers. His brother Leon looked over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What's that?" he asked. That's not a very nice thing to say. Ramon could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Ramon. He kept trying to make drawings look right, but they never did. Look at all these discarded drawings. So sad. It's a lot of paper. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Ramon put his pencil down. I'm done. Marisol, his sister, was watching him. What do you want? He snapped. I was watching you draw, she said. Ramon sneered. I'm not drawing. Go away. Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumpled sheet of paper. Hey, come back here with that. Ramon raced after Marisol, up the hall and into her room. He was about to yell, but fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. He stared at the crumpled gallery. This one is my favorite, Marisol said, pointing. That was supposed to be a vase of flowers, Ramon said, but it doesn't look like one. Well, it looks vase-ish, she exclaimed. Vase-ish? Ramon looked closer. Then he studied all the drawings on Marisol's wall and began to say them in a whole new way. They do look ish, he said. Ramon felt light and energized. Thinking ishly allowed the ideas to flow freely. He began to draw what he felt, loose lines, quickly springing out without worry. Ramon once again drew and drew the world around him, making an ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals, tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, sun-ish. Ramon realized he could draw feelings too, peace-ish, silly-ish, excited-ish. His ish art inspired his ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. Ponder, pond, ponder, dream yonder, pond, pond, yond, yond, gleam, wander. Ramon. One spring morning, Ramon had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings couldn't capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply savored it. And Ramon lived ishfully ever after. Each week, when they head to classes, our children light a lantern as a symbol of the love and hope that goes with them as they explore our faith. Children, youth, and teachers, please come forward as Alex lights our lantern from our chalice. And we'll all join in singing Be Open as children, youth, and teachers head to religious education. The words will be on the screen.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye,
Our congregation is made up of many people and many communities, and we gather in many ways to learn, sing, laugh, share meals, try new things, and help repair our world. Together, we create a community that nurtures us as we seek to live love more fully and fiercely into this world. This morning, Russ Lenth is here to share about the importance of creating safety and belonging for trans people in UU congregations, and how the inclusion of trans folks is one way we live love more fully and fiercely into this world.
Hi, my name is Russ Lent. My pronouns are he and him. Around 15 years ago, my 30-year-old son at the time, Kevin, told Jane and me that he was experiencing gender dysphoria. I had our welcoming congregation program to thank for being able to be open to listen to this. I did some reading because I had to inform myself of what it all means. But to tell the truth, it's very simple. Every person has the right to decide how to present themselves to the world, whether it's which side to part their hair, or what, if any, sex might be implied by the way they dress. And I learned that gender dysphoria is not common, but not terribly uncommon either. Kevin initially tried to just live with it. He met a woman. He married. They had a son. It was parenthood that made Kevin realize that she really couldn't pretend to be a man anymore. She legally changed her name to Kathy and began undergoing various treatments, some of them quite painful and or expensive, and had gender reassignment surgery. People don't go through things like that just on a whim, by the way. Her marriage stayed intact, which is a real blessing. She changed from an extremely shy, withdrawn, nerdy boy to a much happier, extroverted, nerdy woman. She's a computer science professor at Westminster University in Salt Lake City, and just recently took over as department chair. She also led their diversity committee, and through her leadership, faculty evaluation at Westminster is based on 4 criteria: teaching, research, service, and DEI activities. I'm speaking today because we are marking the Trans Day of Remembrance and Resilience, and to call your attention to the Responding to the Anti-Trans Movement short course, which is coming up on the 23rd. I participated in the course when it was offered several months ago, and I recommend it highly. Contact Nick or Madison or visit uusic.org to register. Let us remember those trans individuals who suffered terribly or died at the hands of people who refused to listen to them, and use my story as a lesson for ourselves that we must try to listen to those who seem different. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. As both Kezia and Russ have shared, this week, November 20th, is Transgender Day of Remembrance and Resilience. This annual observance began in 1999 as a result of the increasing anti-trans violence and discrimination. The first memorial event was held in November 1999 to remember and honor trans woman Rita Hester, Say her name, Rita Hester, who was murdered on November 28, 1998 in Boston. Rita Hester's murder, like most violence against trans folks, remains unsolved. On this Trans Day of Remembrance, we honor our trans kin who have died this year. I will say some of the names of those who have died in the United States. Tiara Love Torrey Jackson. Scarlett. Blaze Alexander Ball Mason. Blake Sturm. Robin James Post. Kashi Rhea. Onyx Cornish. We honor you. May you rest in peace. Take a deep breath in with me, please. Let it out. Please join me in a time of prayer for our trans beloveds. This prayer is by Reverend Dr. Kimmy Floyd Reich. Let the living be witness. Today we remember our sacred kin. Each one was beloved. Each one mattered. But memory alone is no longer enough. Our candles do more than flicker in sorrow. They are beacons that light a path for the living to find sanctuary. They lead us toward a world where every trans, non-binary, intersex, gender beautiful person can safely live in their truth. To honor the dead is not just to say names, but to commit to protect the living. To mourn is to move, to build, and to act. To center love in a way that keeps people alive. May we commit to love the living well enough that we keep fighting, no matter how long it takes, until there are no more names to be mourned, no more lives taken by violence too soon. Amen. Trans people are sacred, Reverend Sunshine Wolf says. We are blessed and we are a blessing because authenticity is our superpower and community our liberation. Our existence helps to grow and transform the world. Those are the words of Reverend Sunshine Wolf. To our trans, gender expansive, and gender transcendent beloveds, may you live in joyful, defiant peace. I celebrate you, I honor you, and I love you. Blessed be.
It's very hard to follow that up. I love the term gender beautiful. I think that's great. Today's source of inspiration is a poem entitled Self-Compassion, written by the contemporary American poet James Cruz. My friend and I snickered the first time we heard the meditation teacher, a grown man, call himself honey, with a hand placed over his heart to illustrate how we too might be more gentle with ourselves and our runaway minds. It's been years since we sat with legs twisted on cushions, holding back our laughter. But today, I found myself crouched on the floor again, not meditating exactly, just agreeing to be still, saying honey to myself each time I thought about my husband splayed on the couch with aching joints and fever from a tick bite. What if he never gets better? Or consider the threat of more wildfires, the possible collapse of the Gulf Stream, then remembered that in a few more minutes, I'd have to climb down to the cellar and empty the bucket I placed beneath a leaky pipe that can't be fixed until next week. How long do any of us really have before the body begins to break down and empty its mysteries into the air? Oh, honey, I said, for once, without a trace of irony or blush of shame, the touch of my own hand on my chest, like that of a stranger, oddly comforting in spite of the facts.
Thank you, Madison. And thank you, Kazia. And thank you, musicians. And thank you, Reverend Diana, for doing a pulpit swap with me. This is our third pulpit swap so far, and each time I come, I am reminded of how wonderful it is to strengthen our Unitarian Universalist Association by strengthening the relationship between these corridor congregations. I count Reverend Diana as a trusted UU colleague, one who is smart and generous, steadfast and kind, and I trust that you count her and her ministry as a gift in your life as much as I do in mine. So thank you all for welcoming me here this morning. As I was introduced, I am the Reverend Karen Bringleson. I use she, her pronouns. So did anyone hear the good news that happened on Wednesday this past week? Maybe there was a lot. Maybe you missed it. On November 12th, the Unitarian Universalist Association joined 8 other congregations in issuing an interfaith collective statement of support for trans, non-binary, and intersex people, affirming that they deserve respect, love, and equal rights. The Reverend Jamie Yondel, the UUA's transgender support specialist, noted that the statement affirms Unitarian Universalist religious principles and the power of interfaith collaboration. They stated, trans people are not problems to solve. We are possibilities to celebrate. When people of faith come together in love, we remind the world that sacredness has never been one size fits all. When faith joins in love, we remember the universe is endlessly creating, and trans lives are living proof that divine imagination never ceases. Now, I love interfaith statements like this, statements of our values, statements of our visions. Now, while such statements do not bring back the 354 trans lives that we hold in love and memory this week, these statements do play a role as we collectively reaffirm our belief in a more just society. They offer us a way to live ishly during these anti-trans times. They help us to claim beauty and joy, despite the at times terrifying news cycle. By boldly claiming our values of equity and of justice, by remembering our desire to cultivate compassion, by practicing loving kindness in small ways and large, we are part of making the world a better place. we can answer the call of love, especially when we do it ishly, with joy. Now, like Ramon, the perfectionist artist, I have a strong streak of perfectionism running through me. I'm not even sure how many times I rewrote this sermon. The proverbial, paper just thrown onto the ground in frustration. But when I offer myself and those around me a little grace, a little compassion, a little ish, then I can embody more easily the person I truly want to be. Someone who is faithfully taking collective action for justice, while simultaneously and gratefully enjoying the journey of this life. Offering compassion to ourselves, giving ourselves the necessary, oh, honey, murmurs, takes practice for most of us, I would guess. Perhaps you too feel the weight of perfectionism leaning over your shoulders, laughing at your efforts like Ramon's big brother Leon did. Perhaps you too, like I do, maybe you need a little sister like Marisol to remind you of some larger truths. That we need not be perfect to be worthy of love, belonging, and joy. That we need not be perfect in our actions for greater justice to make a difference. That we are part of the universe which is endlessly creating. I think of Dr. Kristen Neff as one of those little sisters sharing some larger truths. A professor of psychology with a focus on self-compassion, Dr. Neff reminds us that the word compassion is derived from the Latin and refers to how we are with, or calm, suffering, passion. How we are with suffering. Now, in her work, Dr. Neff identifies three main elements of compassion. The first is mindfulness, which is about clearly noticing suffering in a way that is balanced. We can bear witness to the suffering without sweeping it under the rug and without blowing it out of proportion. So mindfulness is a balanced approach to accepting suffering. The second main element of compassion is what she calls common humanity. That is, we all experience suffering. You are not alone in your experience. Suffering is experienced by all humans, for we share this common humanity. And that the third main element of compassion is kindness. This is an action word. Kindness is about offering understanding, warmth, and support in response to suffering. So those three elements of compassion are mindfulness, common humanity, and kindness. Now, put another way, one that is specific to self-compassion, Dr. Neff says, instead of mercilessly judging and criticizing yourself for various inadequacies or shortcomings, self-compassion means you are kind and understanding when confronted with your failings. After all, who ever said you were supposed to be perfect? Rather than thinking of self-compassion as being selfish or self-absorbed, like I have been known to do, Dr. Neff's research shows that the more often compassion flows inward, the more resources we have to be of service to others. Dr. Neff is reminding us a little ish with our own precious selves. She's reminding us to be a little ish with our own precious selves, because it's not only good for us, it's good for those around us. Now, another little sister reminding us of larger truths comes out of the Center for Healthy Minds, located at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where I lived for decades. Not at the Center for Healthy Minds, just Madison. Dr. Richie Davidson and his colleagues are scientists who study the brains of meditators, most often Tibetan Buddhists. And he even has a personal relationship with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is reported to say, "My religion is kindness." These brain researchers take MRIs of longtime meditators to see which parts of the brain are lighting up at different moments. And luckily for us, they have a new podcast called Dharma Lab, which I highly recommend. Dharma Lab, DHARMALAB, Lab. In their work, these brain researchers have come to define compassion as the motivation or impulse to relieve suffering. So compassion is the impulse to relieve suffering. Echoing Dr. Neff, compassion is about acknowledging suffering and then wanting to do something to make it better, to take action. Now, these researchers make a distinction between compassion and empathy. Empathy is related to feeling someone's pain, which lights up one area of the brain, whereas compassion is related to relieving said pain, which is shown to light up a different part of the brain. It's fascinating to me. These researchers believe we are all born with an innate capacity to act with kindness and compassion. And yet, they also believe these tendencies can be strengthened with practice. It takes practice to act with kindness and compassion. It takes practice to have a mindset of service. Now, you might not be surprised to hear that both Dr. Neff and Dr. Davidson have been heavily influenced and inspired by Buddhist teachings and practices, which leads me to our final little sister or scholar for today, C. Pierce Salguero, who is a scholar of Buddhism, Asian medicine, and cross-cultural exchange. He wrote this book called Buddhish, a guide to the 20 most important Buddhist ideas for the curious and skeptical. Compassion, Dr. Salguero explains, is a pretty vague term that we use in everyday English. But in contrast, Buddhism is much more precise with its language around compassion. It differentiates between 4 different positive mental states. And collectively, these 4 mental states are sometimes known as the immeasurable states of mind, or the immeasurables. So I made 4 puzzle pieces to show how these immeasurables are all interrelated. And it starts with this. First, there is loving kindness, meaning a feeling of universal friendliness, goodwill, and love toward all beings. In Pali, this loving kindness is known with one word, metta. Have you heard this loving kindness phrase before? Where? In the hymn. Our gathering hymn this month is called Loving Kindness, I think. May I be filled, yeah. Then there's the second kind of compassion. That's an empathetic compassion known as karuna. This is a feeling of wanting to remove the suffering experienced by other beings. So this reminds me of the actions that the previous scholars have referenced. So I put a helping hand on this puzzle piece to imply the action of removing suffering. And then there's a third kind called altruistic joy, also known as mudita. This is a feeling of joy at the happiness and success of other beings, untinged by jealousy or pride. I was so grateful for Les's story today. I felt so much pride with Kathy's success and joy of being outgoing nerd, an extroverted nerd. I also think of the book that Kazia read for us, and Ramon's little sister was proud of her big brother's paintings or drawings. She was happy for him. And then there's a fourth kind of compassion called equanimity, also known as upekkha. This is a feeling of tolerance, of peace and tranquility in the face of annoyances, including those caused by other beings. Here I symbolized equanimity with this almost equal sign. I think of a calmness as the waves of life wash over us, like how Ramon experienced more peace when he drew and wrote ishly, despite the cruel critiques of his big brother. According to Dr. Salguero, within Buddhism, we can and should cultivate these 4 positive states of mind. In other words, the brain can be trained in these immeasurables. Now, all 3 little sisters have implied we can practice these types of compassion and get better at them. What would it take for you to practice compassion in any of the ways that I've described today? And I don't mean practice as in practice makes perfect. I mean practice as in trying, making mistakes, learning, experimenting, and trying again. I mean practice as in cultivating compassion ishly with joy and open-heartedness. I mean practice as in it's not about self-improvement so much as it's about self-exploration. Perhaps you want to start by doing an oh honey meditation. You can sit with your own tender heart and offer it space to name, like the poet did, your suffering, aching joints and fever from a tick bite, the threat of more wildfires, a leaky pipe in the cellar. Be understanding and kind with yourself. Remember, when you start practicing compassion with yourself, you have more capacity to act with kindness and compassion towards others. And another option is to sing this month's hymn of the month throughout your day. This metta practice starts with the person closest to you, yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. So those are the 2 invitations for your days and weeks ahead. To see your suffering clearly for what it is, with an oh honey break. Make space to remember your common humanity and offer yourself some understanding and kindness. And secondly, to sing the hymn of the month to yourself again and again. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. And then move on to the second verse. May you be filled with loving kindness. And really pick a person in your mind to envision, someone to whom you want to offer this metta. And then next, move on to the third verse. May we be filled with loving kindness. imagining the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Let this practice of compassion for yourselves and others remind you of larger truths, that we need not be perfect to be worthy of love, belonging, and joy. That we need not be perfect in our actions for greater justice, to make a difference. That we are part of the universe which is endlessly creating, and that we can lean into the ish. May we be so. Blessed be.
How we give and what we do with our lives is a reflection of our values. In response to the abundance we are blessed with every week, this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this month is the Free Dental Clinic, where dentists, dental students, dental hygienists, and dental hygiene students volunteer to provide exams, treatment plans, cleanings, fillings for cavities, and simple tooth extractions to adults and children. In the sanctuary, all cash collected goes directly to our community partner agency and to the Community Common Fund. If you're writing a check, please use the memo line to designate the purpose for our community partner, as for our community partner, your pledge, or as a gift to support our operating expenses. You can follow the instructions on screen to give online or via text. Your offerings are a sign of your commitment to this congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join with us. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts. May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. After the service, we gather in the fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. If you're a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at a table so folks can join you for some conversation. After today's service, we're offering a Pathways to Membership orientation with our membership coordinator, Victoria Hewitt. For those who are interested in learning more about UUS and membership, please meet in the conference room by the front doors at 11:30. As a reminder, we are offering the Responding to the Anti-Trans Movement course on November 23rd from 1 to 4:30. It says here to remind you that there are snacks included in this course. This will be led by our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Nick Kaplan. There is a flyer in the hallway or in the atrium between here and the fellowship hall that has a QR code, so you can use that to register for classes.
Our closing hymn for this morning is number 1014. Printed in your hymnals as Standing on the Side of Love, we will be singing Answering the Call of Love. Please rise in body or in spirit.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
Our service here is coming to a close, so I send you out to be of service in the world. Practice compassion with yourself and those around you. Practice ishly, knowing always that you have enough, and that you are enough. Blessed be, and go in peace.